My name is Faris. This is the Open Mat Podcast, and welcome to episode 5, where we have another outstanding guest. If you'd like to introduce yourself, outstanding guest.
What's up, everybody? My name is Dennis Khaperman. I'm 28 years old. I train out of 10th Planet Palm Beach with this man right here. And thank you for having me on the pod.
Absolutely, brother. So, to get us into the flow of things a little bit, I like to talk about favorite moves to start off with. So, let's talk about your favorite move and how you got there.
So my favorite move would have to be any combination of a leg lock. So I would say heel hook. I'm going to start off with a heel hook. Reason being is because when I used to train in Washington, I would compete. I would go against people that would kind of focus a little bit on legs a little bit. So like my former coaches and my former professors, normally we would work on it kind of after class because I used to train in the gi. And so I used to train at a GB. And so we didn't really focus heavy on leg locks. So I was the one that after class, I would kind of talk to my professor, be like, hey, I would like to try straight ankle locks. I want to learn how to do, all these different leg locks. And what got me into that was before I competed in my first gi tournament, there was this teammate I had, and she would just straight ankle lock me all the time. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, I've never seen this. And so I competed. I lost, unfortunately. And so came back, and so I was training with her again, and of course she'd hit me with straight ankle locks. So I'm like, can you teach me a little bit how, the movement of it? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. So we worked on straight ankle locks a little bit. Then I had a former coach who would hit me with straight ankle locks, and I'm like, okay, can we work on these? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. So after regular classes, I would work on straight ankle locks. And then finally, lo and behold, my professor would hit me with those, and I'm like, okay, can we just perfect, my straight ankle locks, right? So we perfected those, and it was normally after class, kind of like when there would be like open rolls. I'd kind of be on the side with my professor, and we'd be working it. And then I started watching a lot of YouTube. I started watching a lot of, ADCC content and everything, and I saw that Gordon Ryan was doing heel hooks, and I was like, okay, what is this? I'm like, I've done straight ankle locks. This is what I need to learn next, right? So I was watching it, and then when I went to no-gi classes, I would try to, practice it on my professor, and then he would immediately reverse it, counter it, hit me with it, and then he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I want to learn heel hooks, and he's like, you're still a white belt. And so eventually when I got my blue belt, I started working a little bit more with him, and then I started working with another teammate because when he saw that I was just hitting all these, straight ankles, and then I started kind of, maneuvering to toe holds. He worked with me one-on-one, and so we started working on those. And then eventually I started learning heel hooks, but I wouldn't be allowed to use them in, class because, on white belts, people don't know what they're doing, and it's a very serious, injury that could occur. If you twist the wrong way, you can immediately blow out your ACL, MCL, everything in your knee.
Yeah, I remember when you first came to us over at the dojo, and you were like, I'm a blue belt with Gracie, and I was like, I don't know what, I don't know anything, so I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. And then you were like, I just want to learn heel hooks and straight ankle locks.
Right.
I think that was the whole deal.
Yeah, like I said, so when we were training at GB, we were technically learning like a straight curriculum. So like 1 week straight, it would be something, like arm bars for a week just to kind of refine techniques. And then it would be, all these takedowns and stuff, but I was really eager to learn ankle locks. And so, after class, I would, like I mentioned, I would pull my coach aside, my professor aside, and I'd be like, I really want to learn these. So I got to do them. And then when I went to you guys, immediately when I saw a coach, hitting someone with a heel hook, I was like, all right, you know what, I'm home. That's it. I'm in.
That's great, man. So let's talk a little bit about your competitions so far. You've done 2 with us, right?
Yes.
And you did 1 prior. So I'd like to talk about the differences of experience between your first one ever and then the ones in the in-house.
Right. So with my previous ones before I came here, so in Washington, I competed. My first tournament was in the gi, and I competed in Boise. I prefer in the IBJJF Open. And in the gi, in the IBJJF rule set, you're only limited to certain moves at certain rankings. So as a white belt, I was only allowed to do arm bars, triangles. I believe straight ankle locks were allowed, but I can't recall that one. But I was very limited. So I remember competing in the gi, you know, trying to take this dude down. And in about 3.5 minutes, he put me in an omoplata. And I tried to wiggle out of it. I didn't know how to get out of it. So if he cranked my arm a little higher, he would have snapped my arm, so I tapped. And then my next gi tournament was at a local, it was like a Pacific Northwest tournament called Revolution. And it was like one of the biggest local tournaments. So I competed in that. I won my first match by armbar, lost my second. And then my final gi competition was called Fuji Winter Championships. And at that tournament, I think that's what really kind of like fully set me for leg locks, like 100% engaged. Because what happened was my first match, I hit a 15-second ankle lock. And I just could not believe it because I've been drilling it, I've been working it. And as soon as I hit it, I was like, okay, this is cemented. Like, as I said earlier, how much I was dedicated to learn, it finally got to that point. That was it right there. And so that was my last gi tournament. And then when I came here, my first in-house tournament with you guys, I lost both matches. The first one I lost was a rear naked choke. Second one was a no-gi Ezekiel choke. My second in-house, ran it back with the same guy that I had in the first match, lost again by a rear naked. So I'm not going to get a trilogy, which is fine. I don't care. Good guy, though. And then my second match, I cemented myself with the fastest sub. I cemented with, in the tournament, they were saying it was a 14-second heel hook. But when we rewatched the tapes, the coaches told me that it was actually a 10-second heel hook. So you can see that the opponent was essentially tapping the first time before I was able to catch the heel and kind of, cement it. So
yeah, I was like, because when they said 14 seconds of the competition, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think it was that slow. Like, I'm pretty sure Dennis like rolled into an instant heel hook and the guy was tapping. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know what's up with
if
that.
you watch the tape again, you can see as soon as I pull guard. So like, honestly, I didn't expect to do that because my whole plan was I did want to pull guard. However, I kind of wanted to like pull him into full guard and kind of work from bottom because my bottom game is really not up to par and I wanted to test myself so I can see what I'm doing wrong. However, as soon as I pulled guard, I just subconsciously threw my legs through and I was like, all right, that's it. I'm just going to go for it. Caught the heel, rolled him over. And then right before I could even pull, he tapped like just multiple times. I was like, all right, and just let go
Yeah, it was crazy. And I was like, what should because I looked away for like a second. I was like, what is the match over?
You know, it's funny because Nick went to the bathroom and then as soon as he came back, he was like, all I heard was yelling, what the hell did I miss?
That's funny. You were saying you went against the same opponent multiple times. I'm curious if you noticed anything competitively different between each match, or if you felt any different or anything interesting to have to do with fighting the same opponent multiple times.
So the opponent that I went against the same time at the in-house, the first and second time, the first time we went against each other, he has really good, I want to say stand-up. Stand-up is very good. What else? Put me on the spot with this one. Gotcha. So his stand-up was pretty good. His takedown was really good. When he pulled me into his guard, he has a really good like rubber guard setup. However, he didn't get me into it, luckily, but the setup was really quick. It was smooth. It was flawless. But luckily, because like my frame was smaller than him, because I think he was like, 20, 30 pounds heavier than me. My frame is a little smaller, so I was able to kind of wiggle myself out. So that was the one thing I've noticed. The second time going against him, it was a lot quicker. The pace was a lot faster. We went to the ground a lot quicker than last time. But I think to me, I made the same mistake and I gave him my back because that's what happened the first time. I ended up doing the same thing again on the second time, but I need to work on not that's one of the things I really need to work on is not giving up my back. So
I'm definitely in that same boat, and it's kind of hard too with guys who are really good at like playing that, lifting themselves off the body to take like the back or whatever they want to do. Because I noticed that too in my competition. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how is this guy getting to my back? You know? And I was just in mount. What? You know, so that was interesting. But all right, let's talk a little bit about the Dennis himself. So tell us a little bit about baby Dennis to current Dennis. Let's
the
talk
Dennis
about
himself.
The life story.
All right, so I mentioned a few times I'm from Washington. So I was born in Seattle, and at about 5 years old, I moved to a city called Edmonds. So when people ask me, oh, Dennis, where are you from? I just say Seattle, because when I say Edmonds, they're just like, what the fuck is Edmonds? And so Edmonds is 10 minutes out from Seattle, about 10, 15 minutes. So basically grew up my whole life in Edmonds. As a child, I used to be very athletic. I used to play soccer. I used to play basketball. I used to train a little bit of martial arts. So I used to train in Aikido. Didn't really like it as much, so I switched to Taekwondo. I competed in Taekwondo. I've done the sparring portions. I've done the forms portions, medaled with those. I was 2 belts away from black belt, but I decided to quit because, I don't know, as soon as it got difficult, I was that guy that as soon as it got very difficult, I was just like, okay, fuck this, I'm done. Looking at it, I'm just like, okay, I wish I didn't, but, shit happens, right? You're learning. So I've done Taekwondo. And then in high school, I used to run track and field. I used to do sprints. I used to run the 100-meter dash. I used to run at 200 meters. I used to run 400 because my teammates, some of them that were on the 4x4 relay, some of them would get injured, and I was like the replacement basically. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, okay. So not really a distance runner, more of a sprinter, but it worked out in the end. Done those, and then I went to Boise State for a year. So I went out of state college, and then came back for a year, went to community college, got my AA, and then a few years ago, that's when I started jiu-jitsu, literally right before COVID. So I found out that they were opening a gym like 5 minutes away from my place. So they were kind of just blowing it up on Facebook like, hey, we're opening up. First, 100 people to sign up. It's like a founding members fee. You only have to pay like $100 for a lifetime, all that stuff. So I kind of was intrigued. I was like, okay, so I've done all these other martial arts. And then, I kind of want to try jiu-jitsu because at the time my coworker used to do it. And he would come in and he'd tell me all about it. He'd be like, yeah, I would triangle this guy, this and this and this. And I'm like, okay, this sounds very interesting. And then I had a classmate who also trained in jiu-jitsu. And so I talked to him about it. He's like, yeah, you should definitely look into it. So I was like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. So I signed up. When they opened, I went for a few classes. And then I was just like, oh my God, like this is really fun. And then so that's when I started training in the gi. So I started training in the gi, and I started kind of, getting my body adapted to it. And then they started offering no gi classes. And I was like, oh, this is, interesting because you don't have the jacket, you don't have the pants. So I was like, all right, so let's try that. And then I slowly started, kind of picking up. And I was like, okay, this is, a little bit more of a challenge because you don't have the jacket. So you have to, either go and you have to wrestle them, or you can, grab shoulders because you can't grab lapels because you have a rash guard. So it's like, you can't do that. And the gi, you can grab lapels all you want, just so you can move them, right? And no gi, you can't. So I like the challenge of no gi. And so I started coming to more no-gi classes, and I started training gi every day. So I started doing, 3 times a week gi, 2 times a week no-gi. And then Sundays, I would train with my friend who happens to be a personal trainer. And he trains jiu-jitsu, and he has a friend who's a purple belt. So I would train no-gi with them on Sundays. And then it just kind of built, accumulated. COVID hit, still kept training, didn't want to, quit, still kept going. And then fast forward to now, I moved down here June. I left Edmonds in June, and I actually drove here. Yeah, cross-country driving from Edmonds all the way here, which was a funny experience, by the way. Great experience, too, funny and great. And then when I got here, I had to look for a job because, you have to pay to train. And so I was struggling to find a job. The market was kind of shit. Couldn't train, and this was for 5 months. So I was not gonna lie, having jiu-jitsu withdrawals. I was like, God damn, like I want to train, but I can't, So the only thing I did was go on runs just to kind of like keep my blood going, keep my body going, keep myself, energized, so I wouldn't, fill in this sinkhole of, I'm not training. Finally got a job, started looking for gyms. And then so I kind of went around. Originally, there's a GB gym in Royal Palm that I went to check out. Went to it, didn't really like it. Went to a different gym, didn't really like it. And then I was thinking to myself, okay, just keep looking. And then I met, Coach Dwell and Coach AJ. I went to a 6 a.m., intro thing. And so Coach Dwell was, kind of explaining the system to me and everything. And then the first thing we did was trucks. Yeah, I remember learning a truck, how to do the truck the first time. And then immediately, the second that session ended, I looked at Coach and I was just like, so where do I sign? And that's that. So.
Yeah, I think I've talked about it briefly. I got kicked out of 2 Gracie places. They wouldn't even let me in.
Oh, shit.
I was a little too aggressive. They're like, nope, we don't want you. You can't roll. I was like, well, I'm not doing that. So I ended up finding Coach Dwell through a guy at LA Fitness.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Just had his card. I was like, fuck yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So I checked it out. It's about the same experience. It's so funny that you start with truck rolls.
It was because I didn't expect it because so we went to we were starting from Turtle and I was like, okay, and then he started showing me the setup for the truck, and then I was just like, oh shit, this is the shit I want to learn. Because if I wanted to learn how to heel hook, if I wanted to learn toe holds and fucking calf slicers and all these other leg locks, then looking at the truck setup, I'm just like, I gotta fucking learn this too. I don't use it because I'm not 100% at it. I need to practice it more and more, but I am using other leg techniques. So.
Don't spoil all your leg techniques.
Nope.
You can't tell them all the secrets.
Nope. I got one in the chamber, and I'm not sharing it. So if you guys want to see what I'm working on, we got the in-house tournament, April 27th. It's probably going to be streamed. Well, I can't say in-house because it's going to be
what is it called now? The SoFlo?
Yeah. SoFlo tournament, April 27th. It might be streamed, who knows? But if it is, watch it. You might see the new shit that I'm working on. I'm not going to spoil it. I do have one in the chamber. The guys who I train with, all you guys at 10P, Palm Beach, if you know what it is, don't say anything. See it in class.
Keep your lips closed.
Keep them zipped.
Yeah, but, whoa. Sorry, my lizard is still in the fucking wall right now. I don't know what he's doing.
He's enjoying the air.
Hey, handsome. Yeah, he probably loves it. It smells really good in my apartment right now because I got it's literally a straight flow through. So
Yeah.
you guys hear some extra air audio quality. That's probably why. But no, I love jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't really put my finger on a why I love jiu-jitsu, but do you have a why you love jiu-jitsu?
I love jiu-jitsu because thinking about it, it's human chess. I've played chess before. I wasn't good at it, but doing the physical application of human chess, it makes me think, okay, I need to be 3 steps ahead, not just 1, but 3. So it makes me think about, okay, so if he's going to pull me into his guard, how can I prevent him from pulling, into his guard? Or if I fuck up and he pulls me into his guard, what can I do, to escape it? So it's kind of like that mental game, which is really, I think, to me, it's really beneficial. Health-wise, it's also beneficial because you're active. You don't have to spend, hella money at the gym. I mean, granted, yeah, weights are good for you, but I mean, if you train every day, essentially, it's really good for you, for health benefits. And then another reason why I love jiu-jitsu, it's just, the community is amazing. Just meeting all these people that, train different styles of techniques, and then you guys can, beat the shit out of each other and then be friends afterwards. That's what I love about it. If you and I, because you and I spar in the mornings, and every time we kill each other, we're still bros at the end. You'll break my foot at the end, and I'm like, yeah, I'm chilling, we're good. You'll break my shins at the end, hey, I'm chilling. But at the end of the day, that's what I love about it. We can all be friends, and it's just, I love it.
You said once to me you've always rolled with guys who are bigger than you. Is that like was that true in Seattle too?
Yes. So I did roll with people bigger than me for the majority of the time. There were some guys I trained with that were either my size sometimes or a little bit smaller. They were younger than me. They were in school, so it's completely understandable. But the guys that I rolled with, they were much bigger than me. There's a guy who was about like maybe 40, 50 pounds heavier than me, and I would roll at like what 165-ish, because when I competed in the gi, I did 168, and so that weight difference is just it's amazing to me because rolling with bigger guys, it actually helps me out. It makes me focus on my breathing. It makes me focus on my stamina, because one of the biggest key things in jiu-jitsu is you have to focus on your breathing. And if you gas yourself out and if you can't control your breathing, you'll tire yourself even more. You'll either panic and you'll just kind of like start swarming. And so one of the key things to me was every time I'd get, squatted by, 200-pound guys, I'd have to be like, okay, just breathe through my nose, kind of like woo-saw a little bit, kind of focus, kind of grab myself a little bit, And then at the end of the day, if I get a sub, great. If not, just work on technique and working on how to defend myself against bigger guys.
Yeah, I noticed I feel like through that your guard has definitely gotten way, way better.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember when you first came in and it was like, just lay on top. Granted, I've also lost like 25 pounds, but I was like, I'll just lay on top of Dennis. Like, that'll work. And now I can't do that anymore. So I'm like, okay, I guess I have to pass Dennis's guard. And I'm like, what the fuck? This guy's killing it right
exactly.
now.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, you see when we roll all the time, like you're heavier than me, and then you'll hit me with the same, top side position, and I'll have to work my way out of it. So the more repetitions I have, the more I can see how to escape all that shit from you. And so I remember when you hit me with topside twister, you were coming around to north-south, and I was able to invert and throw myself into full guard. So
yeah, it was pretty. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, how did he do that? This guy's a wizard over here. So that was really cool. But a lot of that inverted game, man, I want to learn that stuff because there's a lot of stuff from inverted. I was just like hard because people, I feel like, especially white belts, a lot of people, like when you're playing inverted, will just push your feet down,
right,
and then take you back.
Right.
So inverted has to be so good at a lower, well, I guess on all levels, but it feels like you have to get really, really good at inverted really quick to make it work.
You do, yeah. So if you want to be able to do like, like spinal clinch to like Jackie Chan entries to like Imanari rolls, you need to be able to invert. And if you're not able to like unlock your hips a little bit, and if you don't have that mobility, you're not going to be able to do it. And so it's very important if you want to learn like really high advanced moves, you need to be able to invert, because there's a lot.
Yeah, one of my favorite, when did we touch on that? God, last Friday. Mm-hmm. That reverse X is going to be really good for me, I think.
Yep.
Because I don't have like a thing yet. And that reverse X, man, I don't know what it is, but it just clicks with my brain. So hopefully I get to learn some more stuff off of that, because that thing is nasty.
No, you definitely will. If you can master if you can master the reverse X position, and if you throw some inversions in there, then you're gonna slap people with that. It's coming. It's coming. So.
Yeah. How are you feeling about Naga?
So Naga's gonna be my first like actual tournament being here in the state of Florida competing. So like as I mentioned, I competed in local tournaments in Seattle and like the Pacific Northwest like local big tournament. Here I'm excited because it's gonna be in Nogi, and I really want to take that expert division because I want to heel hook. I want to go into it. I know it, like expert division, it's like brown and black belts, sometimes purple, but I want to put myself in that position where like I want to be able to escape heel hooks. I want to be able to escape leg locks. That's why I try every day in class to like learn how to escape, attack, defend, because I want to get ready for, shootouts. because you know that me in leg lock shootouts, I'll fucking go and just rip your shit. So
Yeah. I always thought it's pretty funny because I feel like when new guys come to the dojo, it's usually me who rolls with them first.
right.
Which I love. But it's always funny because if I really can't fuck somebody up for like maybe they have really, really good guard or really insanely solid fundamentals, it's always like I go for that heel hook game.
Yeah.
And no one expects big guys to do heel hooks.
No, nobody. You're right. Nobody expects it because like normally you'd expect pressure game, top pressure, guard passing, north south, Kimuras from north south, and here you are, you just yink, and it's just like what the fuck.
You're like, oh my god, he's gonna pass my guard, and then I snatch up your leg.
Exactly. Yeah.
What the hell, And so I always thought that was pretty funny. So, how long have you been a blue belt for? Like, because I tried to get a grasp.
So I got my blue belt December 20th or 21st, 2021. And so I've been a blue belt technically now for 3 years. However, it's been on and off training because when I moved, I had to find a job and I couldn't train, so that was like 5 months off. But I've had my blue belt for 3 years.
That's exciting. Do you see how much longer do you see yourself staying a blue belt for? I think it's going to be difficult because you switch systems. Is the hardest part.
So to me, I don't look at the time. I just look at my journey. Jiu-jitsu is a very long journey. It depends on your experience. It depends on how quickly you can grasp techniques, how quickly you can grasp a knowledge of jiu-jitsu. I personally, I don't know. I'm just enjoying the ride. The way I knew how was in the gi, you'd get stripes on your belt. And so you need 4 stripes to be promoted to your next belt. So 4 stripes on white, I got my blue belt. And when I came here, I was 2 stripes on my blue belt. And now since I switched to no gi, I stopped caring about stripes. I just want to focus on the adventure. If I get my purple belt in a year, that's fine. In 2 years, that's fine. I'm just focusing on the journey. I'm just focusing on, just trying to be the best that I can be.
Yeah, that's good, man. I think one of the things that a lot of people need to work on is not looking at like the rank so much.
Right.
I think it's really easy to get not only overwhelmed but like overzealous about somebody else's rank or your own rank because I've kicked plenty of blue belts' asses as a white belt. They in the dojo I have a very special nickname according to the black belts. So. We're not going to talk about that on here because I would hate to go on an ego-driven rant about
That's fair enough.
beating a certain rank and then having that rank come to the dojo and absolutely obliterate me. So
fair enough.
Can't say that, but still. Do you have any advice for? So like I like to say ranks that you've been in before. So. Guys who are unbelted, white belts, and blue belts, do you have any advice for people like that, people who are in that realm for jiu-jitsu?
So my advice would be just be patient with yourself. Don't be hard with yourself. From my experience, I was so hard on myself when I started as a white belt because I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted arm bars to be perfect. I wanted my takedowns to be perfect. I wanted everything to be perfect. But you're learning a new skill. You're learning a new martial art. It's like learning a new language. You don't know what the fuck you're doing, and you got to, practice, and it just takes time. So my advice would be just be patient with yourself. Just kind of study, visualize, take notes if you have to. If you need to watch, tutorials on YouTube just to kind of you'll learn something in class, and if you kind of want to brush up on it, watch some of those tutorials. That's what I would do, for leg locks. As a white belt, when I was trying to learn straight ankles, I would kind of watch, tutorials on how to straight ankle locks. I'd watch a lot of Mikey Musumeci. That dude is unfucking real when it comes to straight ankles.
He is a freak.
Yeah, He's unreal.
So cool.
He was one of my motivators to learn. But, when I was first starting out, and so I was watching a lot of his stuff, and he's very technical. So, just really be patient with yourself, just study if you have to, kind of, ask for advice. Don't be afraid to ask for help. When I started, I was afraid to ask, one of the upper belts, if I'm doing this right or wrong, because, it was an ego thing, As soon as you start, you want to show that you're good. You don't want to be that guy like, oh, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But just take it easy on yourself. Ask questions if you have to. Don't let the sport, drive you, like your ego, just take care of yourself, really. So
yeah, so you mentioned Mike Musumeci there. Is he your favorite, or do you have a favorite?
Kyle Chambers. Dead ass. I'm gonna say it right now, Kyle Chambers is my top favorite 10p no-gi grappler right now, and I'll tell you why. That dude is unreal with his inversions. His inversion game is just what I want to learn, because I'll do some inversions in class. That anytime I can, I will try to go into a K-guard inversion. I'll try to go, I'll try to invert from bottom. I'll try to do whatever it takes. But watching that dude grapple, fuck, it's insane. And his ADCC match, I think it was an open match or trial, no, open match with Andy Valera, that was insane. Like, those two going at it, that's all I'm going to say. Just
watching high level is really interesting, because if you watch high level at your weight, I feel like it's way more interesting than watching high level at my weight.
So that can depend. It's based on who brings the entertainment,
Gordon Ryan is just drilling passing the whole time.
Exactly.
That's all he's doing.
Yeah. So you got Gordon Ryan, for the heavyweights. Obviously everyone's Gordon, right?
GR, baby.
Exactly. Yeah. So with people like Kyle Chambers, he puts on a great show. You got guys like Andy Varela. You got guys like fucking Mikey Musumeci. Just I can go on and on and on about who puts on a show, and it's just personal preference, really. Like, if you watch this guy, for example, let's say for example you watched Mikey and you were like, okay, this guy's shit, right? And it's not entertaining. But then you watch Gordon and you're like, oh fuck, Gordon, all this, right? It's just personal preference. Like, if you think the guy puts on a show and he's really technical and everything, division really doesn't matter about who's entertaining.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was just thinking, because I don't watch a lot. Like, I should watch more, but I really don't watch a lot of competitive sports like MMA or even jiu-jitsu, because I find it very boring. I watch it, I'm like, oh my god, just let me beat somebody. I watch Gordon Ryan and I'm like, I'd love to fight you for the fucking 15 seconds I'd be alive, but it's always like, for me, I just want to get after it and fight.
Exactly. Like, so I'll watch a couple of events on Flow Grappling, and I'll get into it. Other times I won't. And then there's going to be times where I'm going to be watching, like the recap of ADCC footage. And so I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay. And then it'll just hype me up to fucking come into class. Like, it varies. Like I was mentioning, it just varies. Cause like, if they put on a show, great. If not, it's just experience, really.
Yeah. I never asked what you do for work, by the way.
So I work at a company called Decimal Engineering, and I'm a laser operator. And basically, I help cut different types of sheet metal. So I cut aluminum, I cut steel, and we cut from really thin material to about really thick material. The lowest I've seen that I've cut was like 0.31 on the decimal scale. I can't convert that. Don't even try on the spot. Yeah, don't even try right now. So the lowest I've seen was 0.031. The highest I've seen working in shop was an inch, but looking at our machine, it's programmed to cut at least an inch and a half steel, or an inch of a quarter. So that's the highest we can cut.
Okay. Damn, how did you go from Washington, move to Florida, and then get a job as a laser? That's crazy.
So before I moved here, I was a laser operator. And so that was the first laser operating gig I got, because I used to work as a valet, and I was like, okay, I got to find something different. Like, this is just not helping me grow. It was just kind of same shit every day. It was just like, hi, hello, how are you doing? All right, let's check your car, walk in a circle, make sure everything's okay. All right, we're going to send you down the line to the service advisor. And it was just every single day. So I'm like, okay, I got to find something different. And so about 15 minutes away from me, there was, a company called Tureen, and they were hiring. And I was like, oh, let me put down my resume and application. So I told them I was going to school for engineering, which I was. And then they took that in consideration, and they're like, all right, yeah, just come on board, and we'll show you, what's up. So they had 2 CNC lasers. One of them, before I left, they bought a new one. So they bought a fiber optic laser. So we had a CO2 laser, and currently they have a fiber optic laser. And I believe that's a 5,000 kilowatt fiber optic. I can't remember. But the one I'm working on currently at the shop is like 12,000. So that thing will cut through butter.
Dude is shooting lasers into space. I think that's the joke I made the first time I
that was, yeah.
that job. I was like, man is operating space lasers. Like, absolutely killing aliens out here. Okay.
I could be. I really could be. With the knowledge I have, just put me in front of a fucking laser and we'll just aim it to space.
We'll find something.
We'll find something. We'll definitely find something in space.
Yeah, it's super funny, man. Your job sounds super complicated, but also like, is it like hot in the shop or?
No, so our building is one of the only manufacturers that has air conditioning. So yeah, I know. Normally laser shops,
that's not standard.
Well, some places they have like they're in garage type, so they have bay doors open. They'll have giant, industrial fans going off. But the building that I'm in, I believe it's like 70,000 square feet, and we have a bunch of fans just all over different departments. So we're one of, I believe, yeah, as my boss said, we're one of the only buildings that has like fully air conditioned fans and stuff without having to open bay doors and kind of just having them facing out and all that stuff.
Okay. I think you should tell your property story about today if you're comfortable doing that.
Yeah, okay. So, all right. So about a month ago, I was going to work, and this woman comes up to me in a golf cart, right? So with a maintenance guy. And so I don't know if you guys have it here, but my area.
We have maintenance golf carts.
Okay, cool. It's 6. So you know what I'm talking about. And they're just driving around and they're just taking care of random shit in the area.
Yeah.
Okay. So they were coming up to my area, and I would walk down my stairs, and so she looks up to me and she goes, "Excuse me, sir, is that your unit right there?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Did you receive a violation or anything?" And I'm like, What violation? And she goes, "Well, your blinds aren't up to code." And I'm looking at her and I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she goes, they're not white blinds. They don't match the rest of the blinds here on property." And I'm asking her, "So how's this an issue? Like, where does it say that I can't have, different color blinds?" Mind you, the previous tenant, had those blinds, and the previous property manager didn't give a shit. Like, you can, for fuck's sake, you can have blue blinds, and she wouldn't care. And so she goes, "It's in your bylaws." And I'm like, all right, cool, I guess. I didn't know that. And she was asking me all these questions, like, "Are you a renter? Are you an owner?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm an owner." And so she goes, "Well, they're in your bylaws." And she was kind of giving me attitude. Like, she wanted to know that she was the boss, right? So I was like, all right, I will get new blinds. Just give me, like, how long do I have until, I don't get a violation? And she's like, 30 days. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll get them done before then. So I got my blinds taken care of. Hilariously enough, it's been more than 30 days, and she has not stopped by my place.
Did you actually check the bylaws?
No, I didn't get a chance to check the bylaws.
I would have immediately checked the bylaws. Because I love to be
that guy.
Yes. Because with
absolutely.
people like that, for me personally, I love harassing stupid people.
Right.
No offense to this lady if you're watching. I don't know why you'd be watching, but I love. In the military, I was the belligerent guy. Mm-hmm. I would be like, so there was a mustache regulation in the military, right, in the Marine Corps. So you couldn't let it grow past the corners of your mouth. Mm-hmm. And it can't be a certain, bulkiness. Mm-hmm. So I would just grow and wear the Hitler mustache.
Oh, shit.
For a month. And then somebody would be like, "Shave that." I'm like, okay. Because if the chain of command tells you have to do something, you just have to do something.
Right.
and it was my full intention to push it belligerently as possible. And then one time I grew it. I grew the smallest curled handlebar without it exceeding the corners of my lip. And I looked like the goofiest motherfucker you could ever imagine. And then there's like, you can like keep your hair a certain length, but you have to style it. So I would get the sides faded because it has to be faded. I'd get the sides faded, and then I would grow it out like crazy, like here, like back middle of my head long, definitely over 3 inches, which is the max length, and then I would slick it back.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that would count as stylized. Like, look at me, like, what the fuck is this? This guy's an asshole.
I mean, you loopholed it. You found a loophole.
I
so
know, but you can't make loopholes and expect people. You can't make a system that has loopholes and be like 90% of the rules in the fucking rule book are like, it's the chain of command's discretion, and I'm like, oh my god, like fucking give me a straight answer on something, you know?
Yeah.
Can I wear white shirts in uniform or not? Like, what the fuck's going on? So, yeah, I don't know. I always thought I love pushing the line with people who it just when people are like angry about shit that doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, do you have? It always makes me wonder. Do you really not have anything better to do?
Yeah, like this situation, it's just like, okay, they're just, different color blinds. Like, I'm pretty sure, I guarantee you, literally everyone in my, community does not have white blinds. I can most certainly guarantee that.
Or they definitely don't care.
Exactly. Like the maintenance guy, as soon as I had this conversation, like she went to go look at another unit, like 3 doors down, and he looks at me and he goes, I'm so sorry. And I was just like, hey, it's fine. I'll just get the blinds. It's whatever. It's not a big deal. And she still didn't check my place, so.
That's, I mean, I'm sure she's going to, she probably forgot about it completely, and then she's going to look at you one day, and you're going to make eye contact.
Oh, 100%.
Like, you better have gotten the fucking blinds fixed.
100%.
They're going to fine you.
Oh, 100%.
So.
Yeah, it's like, why, all right, it's like, they're just different color blinds. Like, they're not going to kill someone. It's not like, I have an animal hanging off my window, Like, it's a set of blinds. Like, chill.
So you have a pet?
I do, yeah. I have a cat. It's my girlfriend's cat, actually. Midnight. She's 14 years old. Such an adorable cat. Also, pain in my.
That's an old cat.
It is, yeah. She's a trooper. She managed to handle the drive here. I give her. I make this joke with my girlfriend all the time. We were in Oklahoma, right? So we made it to Oklahoma, but it was pissing rain. It was a storm. And we pulled up into like this kind of like weird area. I think it's called Boise City, Oklahoma. And we went to a motel. It was just pissing rain, thunder, lightning. It was small, like kind of flooding in some areas. So we got there, got the last pet room actually. And then when we got there, we let the cat out to use the bathroom and everything. And then as soon as, the thunder went off, lightning would happen, she would just run. Like, she hates thunder. She hates lightning. She would just run around. And then when she would piss me off, I'd be like, Midnight, you pissed me off. I'm leaving you here in the motel. And then so consistently on our drive, whenever we stopped at a hotel, motel, every time the cat would like meow at me funny and I wasn't feeling it, if she would, be begging for stuff and just kind of being, annoying, I'd be like, Midnight, you keep acting up. I'm going to leave you in Oklahoma. And so that's just our little inside joke about the cat.
Wow, your girlfriend came with you from Seattle?
Yep.
Damn, that's a big dedication.
Yeah, so we got our apartment like right before COVID in 2021. And then we moved down here together. So she was my navigator, I'm the driver. And then we drove all the way down here together, so.
How many days did it take you?
Oof. So I was planning for 7 days.
Okay.
But we ended up going through Yellowstone, so we kind of took a detour. We got here to Florida, I want to say, like the first week of July. So we left June 26th, and I believe the first week, like right before 4th of July, we got here. So.
Oh, rad. Was it to your expectation, Florida?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Is this where you're going to die?
This is probably where I'm going to die. Reason being, so I grew up in Washington all my life, and I'm not going to talk politics. I'm not going to talk anything negative about it, but let's just say it was time to move and get the fuck out. And this exceeds my expectations. Like, it makes me feel like I'm home. Like, I can be myself without having to fear for what I'm going to say and people, think. I don't have to worry about excessive amount of crime. That's all I'm going to get into. But so
yeah, you can talk politics. It's an open mat.
I mean, fair enough, but like, if I talk about politics, it's just gonna take way too long. It's gonna take way too long, and I'd rather not like go into it. But all I'm gonna say, just the gist of it, I'm glad that I'm out of the area where I don't have to deal with like 100% crime all the time and like just dumb people all the time.
You're like the third person that I know in my life who's moved from Washington.
Oh shit! Okay.
I had a buddy. My driver in the Marine Corps, his name was Kerr. He lived in Washington, and he did not like it.
Do you know what city he lived in?
I know.
Okay.
I don't remember. But he was in Washington. I haven't heard anybody speak positively about it.
I will say this. The positive things about Seattle is you have the Space Needle, Seattle Center. Yeah. You have the gum wall. Some people think it's gross, but the gum wall is kind of like a tradition where it's like this alleyway and people just fucking stick gum on the wall. Celebrities, when they come into town, they'll go to the gum wall. That's one of the places they'll go to. They'll just stick a piece of gum on the wall. And it's just this alleyway. Pike Place is like a really good like tourist attraction. You have the salmon throwers, the fish throwers. Like you got
touch on that a little bit.
Yes, yeah. So when you walk into Pike Place, there's a section where they sell fish, and there's a bunch of dudes, and they just throw fish to each other, and you get people's attention, and they start talking, and they're like, hey, we got one. They start throwing fish, and if a customer orders fish, one dude takes a thing of fish and just throws it to another, and they start butchering it. It's actually pretty nice to see.
That's cool. It sounds like hibachi almost.
Almost, but not really hibachi. You just see a bunch of dudes just throwing fish.
Yeah. Okay, that's really funny. So, what was the appeal to Florida? Just like everything, like the palm tree and the wind kind of thing?
So, the main reason was my family, because my parents moved here during COVID. So that was kind of like one of the reasons why I'm going to move down here. And then my brother also moved down here last year because he graduated college. But what really drew me here was, besides mom and dad and my brother, was, the weather, the palm trees, the environment, just people. You can literally just express yourself and just not give a fuck. People just, they don't stick their nose where it doesn't belong. They just mind their business. And that's what really drew me into it, because it's just like, oh, that's...
Except property managers.
Except property managers. But... I love it. It truly makes me feel like I'm home. So
nice, man. Do you think you're gonna keep staying in the like laser operating engineering community, or do you have some other plans for the future?
As of now, I'm gonna stick with it.
It's a good job for now. Right?
For now, yeah. It helps pay the bills. It helps, kind of just keep me busy. Kind of, learn more new skill about it. But I think down the line, maybe I want to open up my own business. Maybe. Do like a laser operating, business, or just kind of like switch fields. Because as much as I love it, like I want to, like I feel like I'm getting to the point where I just kind of want to try something different. Like I have the skills and I want to move forward. So as of now, it's a good, safeguard here. But down the line, I kind of want to have something else.
Yeah, I feel like one of the biggest issues for like our age group is stagnation.
Yeah.
Things get old really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm already bored of my job. I want to do something else. So
Yeah. See.
I'll go back at Publix. I just want to do something else.
Right.
The problem is, this is not cheap.
Right. I can contest to that. Yeah.
Everything here is expensive. So you have to get a job that's going to pay the bills.
Right.
And unfortunately, bagging at Publix, no matter how long you work there, isn't going to do it.
Right.
So, I'd also, I was looking to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking how many months ago was that? Months. What am I talking about? Weeks. That was last week. I gave up on the house buying journey for this cycle.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to have to let my rent wrap one more time, because everything is so expensive.
Right.
Everything. It's kind of hard to perfect. Sorry, there's a child outside playing with a thing. It's kind of hard to figure out, like you have to make plans so far into the future to be able to do anything with home buying in Florida. It's very expensive. But yeah, I know we talked a little bit about Mikey Musumeci.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any? Have you taken anything from these like ADCC videos or any of the trial videos or flow grappling, and that you've like adapted to your game, or you've asked coach like, hey, can you show me this?
So a lot of the things that I personally adapted was a lot of, Kyle Chambers' techniques, a lot of like inversions, a lot of like leg entries. Same with Mikey Musumeci. I, adapted more of his leg locks. I adapted, his straight ankles. He does different hand positioning, like he modifies his hand movements. Yeah, his Aoki lock that he does. Well, he likes to call it the Mikey lock, but it's an Aoki lock. But, moves like that, like if I can visualize it and then if I ask coach to kind of demonstrate it and I visually see it, not only just like on screen, but like in person, and I actually do it, then I add it to my tool belt. But yeah, just anything that I watch, if I like it, I'm going to visualize it, watch it, and then ask coach about it in class, and then just kind of put it in my tool belt when it comes to it.
Yeah, and here's something so for competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people who watch probably haven't competed or plan to compete.
Mm-hmm.
I make this statement almost every podcast, and almost every fighter's agreed with me, but I want to get your opinion.
Right.
First competition ever that you ever do,
mm-hmm.
I amounted to luck. What do you think?
You're mounted to luck?
Luck. I think it's luck. Because you're both, if you are against a guy who has not competed and you have not competed, and you're on equal playing field,
mm-hmm.
it's got to be luck.
It can be. I can agree to a degree on that, because if you're competing for your first time, and let's say you don't know, you don't know the guy. So like you can look him up in your bracket and you can see like if he competed or not. You can see if, he has a medal, if he has, any, accolades, right? But when you go in, you just don't know. So like it is by luck. I will agree to that portion, because like you don't know if he'll, destroy you or if you'll destroy him. But the first match, yeah, it can be by luck, yes.
And I think a big part of that is the adrenaline dump.
Yes.
That's why I say it's luck.
Yes, that's another thing, because I know for a fact I've had it twice now. So I've had it in Washington and here at the in-house, because it's been forever since I competed. And so as soon as I competed at that in-house, I felt everything just dump, and I couldn't focus. And then as soon as that went away, the next in-house, I kind of got my groove back. But adrenaline dump definitely plays a factor in that.
I think it's definitely like it's understandable though that happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that everybody is attuned to.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I always wonder if it's stage fright or performance anxiety, or if it's more of just something you're not used to doing and then you have to do it. Because there's a lot of things in life you can just kind of avoid.
It depends on the person, really. Like if you have stage fright, because I'm gonna be real, when I first competed in Taekwondo and then still competed in Taekwondo, I had stage fright, especially when it came to forms, because I had people watching, judges watching. There was like a panel of 7 judges, and I'm doing forms, and I'm just like, oh shit, like I want to show that I'm the best. I want to prove that I'm the best, and so I had stage fright doing that, and then it went away over time, but that was one of the biggest things I had. Like one of the biggest issues I had was stage fright when it came to competing. And it just takes time to get over it. Like you just have to compete. You just have to keep putting yourself more in that position, because once you adapt to that situation multiple times, you'll get used to it. Your body will get used to it. Then you're like, okay, I can do this, no problem. So
you have a ideology. So coach's ideology is learn one thing and get really good at it, and then adjust around that. Do you have an ideology you personally follow for jiu-jitsu?
Personally, I think I would just have to kind of piggyback off of coach, because if you can master one technique really good and then move on to the next one, you'll have that fallback. So let's say, for example, I get extremely well versed in heel hooks, right? And then I decide to learn arm bars, like a different modified arm bar positioning. And then I practice that. And let's say, you break out of that, or I can't put you in it. I have that heel hook to fall on because just my body's so used to it. I can just, grab your heel and go into it without even thinking. So I think my ideology would probably be just focus on one tech. Like you can branch out to many techniques, but just kind of focus on one that you're going to be really good at. Build up on it, and then just make that your staple, and then find the next technique to work on.
Yeah. So here's another one.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to AJ about this on the first episode, and I thought you would find it really funny too, because we're a school full of heel hookers and straight ankle lockers.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about my ankles?
Fucking Gumby over here, I'll tell you that. I remember, putting you in straight ankles. You got some flexible fucking feet. I'll tell you that. That's why I stopped. I don't know if you noticed, but I stopped trying to straight ankle lock you. So I stopped because I know every time I put you in a fucking leg lock, your ankles are so flexible. The only way I'm gonna snap you is if I put you in a heel hook or a different advanced position.
Yeah, I try to give people the keys to success. I'm like, straight ankle locks don't work.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to hint at, you have to attack my knee. Like my knee is the thing that's gonna destroy me. So if you're gonna go for something with my foot, it has to be a heel hook.
Yeah, and
you're not gonna straight ankle.
Exactly, exactly, and you just kind of have to pay attention to people. So if you, for example, rolling with you got some flexible feet, and then you can't straight ankle. You got to remember, okay, Kaya's got fucking flexible feet. So okay, straight ankles aren't gonna work. I'm gonna have to break his fucking knee or something. So that's when heel hooks come in. That's when you got calf slicers, toe holds, all this other shit. So
yeah, and I like that you've started to notice that I will bait people with that.
Yeah, you do. It's somewhat annoying because my game and I know your game, and then when it comes to, hey Dennis, I'm just like, fuck.
I'm a very charismatic looking person too. I think I'm very off, especially in comp.
Yeah.
I think it fucks people up because I'm really nice.
Yeah.
I'm a nice looking guy and I'm a nice person. And then I just I bait people with that. You know? I'm like, I'm going to be so kind to you. And then I just act like you're getting obliterated.
No, you do. Yeah. It's
the initiation through mother's milk in the comp classes.
God, I know. Just you on topside in general just fucking sucks.
It's why, everybody else I can throw off, and then Kaya just sits on me for 3 minutes. It's so weird.
But again, it helps me learn, and it helps me try to figure out how to get out of, all that pressure weight. So
yeah, topside pin.
Yep.
Okay, it's gotta be on purpose, right?
On what?
With coach every single time without fail. There's no fucking way it's not on purpose.
If you okay,
it'd be a class of 24 people. It's insane.
I've noticed if you don't show up to class, we'll do topside pin. When you show up to class, we'll do topside pin. But you are right. It's with me.
It's always
with me. It's funny. I will give you that. I don't know if it is by luck or if it's on purpose. But every time that we do back takes, we do 3 people, right? And then as soon as you come to me. As soon as it's like, all right, Dennis, come here. Coach goes, all right, topside pin. And I'm just like, okay. All right, we're good, I guess.
Every single time.
Every time.
It's so strange.
But I'm not hating on it. It's good practice for me. But I agree with you. It's just fucking hilarious how every time it's topside pin. Yeah. Every time.
So, if you have any shout-outs or closing arguments, now would be the time to do it. Anything you want to say?
I want to shout out to the 10P Palm Beach family, for welcoming me with open arms. Kaya, thank you for having me on the pod. Thank you to my brother for pushing me to do jiu-jitsu too when I was starting. I've been trying to get him to come and watch, but he had school in college and he was out of state. And now that we're here together, he came to one class and he met Coach, and I'm going to try to get him to, train with us. So, Max, if you're watching this, you're going to come train with us. You're going to roll with me, you're going to roll with Coach, and you're going to roll with him.
You're going to roll with me, Max. I saw your arms. I want to fight you.
Yeah, let me shameless plug real quick. My brother, Max Khaperman, is one of the best arm wrestlers in the state of Florida. Look him up on Instagram.
Wait, actually?
He's one of the best fucking arm wrestlers. Look him up.
You can link his you send me his Instagram.
Yeah, his Insta is a Russian bear. And if you got look, you'll see why. If you look at this kid, you'll see why. And then you'll ask me, Dennis, why the fuck are you the older brother?
Wait, you're the older brother?
I am the older one, yeah. God. Yeah, he's 22.
Damn.
Yeah.
He's my age.
Yeah.
He's massive.
He is.
So the closing segment is called gift wrap.
Okay.
Sorry, I let people sit with it because
I'm like, what the fuck?
Some people think I'm going to put them in a gift wrap.
Oh.
That's not the case.
Okay.
So here's your gift. We got a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh shit! Okay.
Everybody gets a Hawaiian shirt.
Hell yeah! Thank you.
Podcast.
Thank you.
It might be big, but
I'll wear it.
Some Hawaiian shirts are big.
I'll wear it. Shit. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, brother. All right, guys. That's all the time we have for today. It's been an honor having you on. It's a real pleasure.
Thank you for having me on.
And guys, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share. And have a great day.